Hi guys, in this tutorial we're finally going to use a database to ensure that we are logging in a registered user into our system. This is the project that allows you to log in, but you have to register and your information has to be in our database before you can move on. So we will come into the login page, which is the index page, and remember we had our session variable started here, the session start function, which enables you to call up functions within session module of PHP. Okay, so let's just clean out some things. We check if the user clicked the login button, and we get the form values, and we set the session variable. But before we do this, we want to check whether this user is in our database and then do this once. Alright, so then what I'm going to do is to come in. I have to connect to the database, and I did that in the registration video. So I'm going to look at this and then copy in the chunk of code. I don't need to write that all over again. I'm just going to come here, copy the connect to the database value, come in here, just place it just above here. Now I have that here also. So before I set session variable, I need to find user in the database table. Right. Now I'm going to come in here and say $SQL is equal to. This is how you find out whether this user really exists on our system. I'm going to say select all from the name of our users table is TBL users. That's what we have here. TBL users. TBL users. That's the name of this table. Alright, come in here. Okay, and okay, where select all from the where the username column matches the username that we got from the form field. So I'm going to come in here and say where it matches, but I have to put in semicolon, sorry, in single quotes $username. Alright, not just the username, we also want to find out whether this person has the username and the password as registered in our database. So this is what I'm going to do. So for the password, okay, now when I have this, I need to check. Remember, you have to run your query each time you are done with it. For instance, MySQLi, I'm going to say query, and use the connection variable, that's the database connection we have here, and then call up the query, structured query language, SQL, structured query language. Now I'm going to find out whether this was really okay. I'm going to use a function this time around. I'm going to call up my SQLi underscore number of rows. I need to know whether I have at least one user that has the username that matches the username from this particular person who is trying to log in. Okay, so I'm going to just say MySQLi number of rows wrong. That's I'm trying to get the number of rows affected from this place. I'm going to just check whether the MySQLi number of rows is greater than 0. Now, what does that mean? Trying to be sure that we have at least one record that has this particular user. Now, pay close attention. There is nothing too difficult here. All you have to understand is that my SQLite number of rows finds out the number of affected rows, and we're using this greater than sign to check whether we have at least one record that is equal to this username that has been entered by this new user. But I'm going to use an if statement. I'll wrap an if statement around this. Copy all this because I want all this to happen when we have that. But before it happens, I also want to go into my database. I'm going to say get these users info from the database. Alright, so we want to find out who this user is, not just with his input from the form, but from our database. So I'm going to come in here and say the rows in my database. I want to get the rows in my database, and you use another function, my SQLite function called my SQLite fetch array or fetch assort. So I'm going to use fetch array, and inside here I want to get the run value, the value of my query which I ran here. So when I have that, I can now say that the session value, instead of just being equal to, I'm just trying to shift these guys, instead of just being equal to my form value, will now be equal to the row array at my username. Now the row stores the array of everything that matches this particular record. I can know the username using the session variable by connecting it to the row array that has the username. Now this username is the column name of this particular column. So it's going to give us the username of that particular user that logged in using this username, which is equal to whatever was entered through here. So let's just try this out and see what it gives us. Alright, let's go and then login. Come to login page. I'm just trying one of these persons. We start with Vitalis. His password is anything. Or I'm gonna say anything. Okay. So we were able to log in and it got the name Vitalis. How was it able to get that? It first of all checked whether we had any user called Vitalis. Now what if the user enters a name that is not in the database? How do we handle that? So we have to come in here and put a failed message. I can say else. If none of this happens, just say echo. I'm just gonna echo here, user not found. Please register. Alright, so I'm gonna come in here, log out. Let's say somebody just walks up to this site from nowhere and it says someone password nowhere, comes around, signs in, say user not found, please register. Okay, so now This is a personalized, rather a message that tells this particular user by name someone that you are not in our database, please register. So let's look at the code one more time. I can even pop up the user's name. Let's say I'll come in here and just say I can just say the username and attach it to this. And when we just the dot notation here is to connect the form value of whoever to my error message, so that I can send a more personalized message. Let's say, just come in here and say Daniel and password, whatever. Trying to send, let me say Daniel not found, please register. So it tells you who tried to register and also gives you an information about the error message. These are how you build login systems and make them a lot more user friendly. And now if you look at the code one more time, find out first of all we had the form and we tried to get the connection settled. Then we checked whether the button was clicked. Then we set the values for the form field, and we sought to find out where this user is in our database by using the username supplied against the username column in our database, the password supplied against the password column in our database. Then we ran the query here, and then we checked the number of rows in our database, and if it is greater than 0, it means at least that this user was found. But when it is not, it means the user was not found at all. That's what we did here. If this, do this. If not, else, do this one. Now, if it is greater than 0, it has to find out the row of that user, get the person's information and store it into this variable here as an array. Now that array at column username is now stored into the session username, so that when it goes into the dashboard, it can show us that particular user. If you look at our dashboard code one more time, you find out that what we are looking at in the dashboard is the username session that was created from the login right here, session. Okay, so I believe with a little more practice and looking at this code, you should be able to understand what has been done in here. Login is as simple as how best you understand it. So try as much as possible not just to cram in the codes, try and understand what it is all about, starting with the database and the form fields itself. So I'm just going to try and sign in one of the users, Jesus. Alright, and I'm in because I got the user I had in here. But if I try someone else, it's not going to work. I'm going to log out and see you in the next video. Thank you. In this series, we've been able to achieve a lot.